Law 529, General Relevancy, Section 7, Lecture 1. Alright, in this lecture, we are going to proceed on to look at Section 7 of the Evidence Act. Bear in mind that evidence under Section 7 is largely circumstantial evidence because it will be evidence that's surrounding the facts and issue. Having said that, there will be some situation under Section 7 which can directly show the facts and issue. So, meaning to say that you're talking about it in the context of direct evidence in Section 5, yeah? If you recall Section 6 on evidence of same transaction under Section 6 also largely circumstantial in nature, yeah? Now, let's look at Section 7. What can you find Section 7? Yeah, in Section 7. Now, Section 7, you are talking about evidence which are the occasion, cause or effect of facts and issue. Facts which are the occasion, cause or effect, immediate or otherwise, of relevant facts or which of facts and issue, or which constitute the state of things under which they happened, or which afforded an opportunity for the occurrence or transaction are relevant. Now, if you look at this provision, basically, in case I recategorize evidence under Section 7 into three main categories. The first one, you are tethering evidence which show occasion, cause, effect. The word occasion, cause or effect here reflect that the evidence can be relevant to show occasion, it can be relevant to show cause, it can be relevant to show effect. Means that it can stand alone. It is not subject to one another. It means that if you are showing evidence to show occasion, cause or effect, you can either use it. So it is not necessary for you to prove that it has to show occasion and cause and effect. So it has to be like that, yeah? The second category of relevancy of facts under Section 7 here is when you are producing evidence which reflects state of things under which they happened. So you are tendering evidence to show state of things. Or what you're saying here is keadaan. What do you perceive at that time when you look at the evidence before you, right? And the third one will be evidence which show opportunity of their occurrence. So this will be the three main category of relevancy under Section 7, occasion, cause, effect, state of things, and opportunity. You may, if you are doing some research, you read on your own, you may find that some people may recategorize this into 5 relevancy situation. So they put occasion 1, cause 1, effect 1, and then state of things, and then opportunity. Right? They may separate it like that. But to me, occasion, cause, or effect may be lumped into one similar category because you're referring to the same thing. So it's actually looking at it from the context of either kesan or akibat. Because when you talk about cause or effect, you're talking about sama ada dia adalah kesan ataupun akibat daripada sesuatu. So you're looking at it in that context, yeah. Occasion also reflective of maybe punca, yeah, what cause of it, yeah. So that is the position. Right, now let's look at here. So this is what I did. I separate Section 7 into 3 separate categories: occasion, cause, effect, state of things, or opportunity. Now, what does it mean by evidence to show occasion, cause, effect? Is basically, for example, you give evidence relating to the cause of death. Say, for example, you have Ali killed Mona. Mona have been stabbed 7 times. So the cause of death has to be by virtue of the action of Ali. So the actus reus here, if you talk about murder, the actus reus here is that Ali must do the act of killing. The act of killing by Ali is the one that caused Mona to be dead. So if Mona is dead because of having heart attack, so prior to her being stabbed, right, Ali was very angry and Ali said, I will stab you. So Ali was about to stab her. She suffered heart attack and she died. And eventually when the body was sent to a post-mortem, the doctor who conduct the post-mortem will be able to identify the cause of her death will be by heart attack. Then eventually Mona could not have been murdered by Ali. So you cannot charge Ali for murder of Mona because Ali did not cause the death of Mona. So that is why this provision becomes important because it will be relevant to show cause of death. Yeah, sebab kenapa dia mati. Yeah, and you have several cases there to illustrate on this. Now, Section 7 also relevant to show state of things. Now, what does it mean by evidence of state of things? Evidence of state of things refer to evidence of circumstances of your observation. Say, for example, I went to a scene of a crime and I saw the body of the victim on the ground and the tables and chairs are all in disorder, kursi meja tunggang langgang. So you have signs of struggle on the girl. So basically the girl ada defense mark on the hand. So that will be the observation that you made. So the observation that you made is that upon looking at the circumstances of the facts before you, you will find that she was trying her best to defend herself and she was basically very frantic and she was like running here and there before she was finally murdered. So that will be your observation. The moment you did your observation, that will be evidence of state of things. Yeah, that will be the evidence of state of things. So this will be example, the condition on which the body of a dead person was found. Yeah, you can have it illustrated in the case of Muhammad Rasid, right? And the last one will be evidence of opportunity. We are talking about a crime, the chances of crime being committed. Now let's look at the example of this one. Yeah, all this. Yeah, in right. Say for example you have just now. Yeah, evidence to show cause. Yeah, you are talking about evidence to show cause. If you recall what happened in the case of the arson and murder of the Tahfiz school in Keramat. Yeah, if you recall that, so basically what happened here is that you have maybe the accused person here went to the premises, right? And then you found basically dekat situ, remember in that case the door to the dormitory was actually locked from outside, and then when the police conduct investigation, they basically found the gasoline tank, what do you call it, the LPG cylinder. Yeah, the LPG cylinder that was put outside the door, and basically you have what happened here is that you have the expert, the forensic from the fire department, daripada bomber, fire department, went to the scene of the crime, observed the condition of the crime scene. Basically they take some sample at the location where they saw burnt, and the sample is taken to the department for examination, and they found that there were traces of gasoline. Right, there were traces of gasoline. Now this evidence of the forensic officer, katakanlah you name him Mr. K. This evidence of Mr. K, when he testifies in the court, he will say that we have taken samples from Mahat Tahfiz. The sample is basically examined and we found traces of gasoline on the sample. Katakanlah sample tu basically katakan ada dekat dinding ke whatever. So they scraped it and they analysed it. So when you talk about him tendering evidence as to the existence of gasoline, this could be the cause of fire. Right? This could be the cause of fire. So it can be tendered under Section 7 to show cause. It can also be tendered under Section 7 to show state of thing. So this will be the observation made by Mr. K that he found the traces of gasoline on at the crime scene. So the observation will be relevant to show state of things, and this fire, the arson of the Mahat Tahfiz could be caused by this gasoline, right? So that will be relevant in Section 7 to show cause. And this one, if you have Mr. K here testifying in the court, He has to be an expert to be able to give his diagnosis like that, and you have to comply with Section 5 as well. Since you do not know that it was actually, since Mr. K here did not actually see the act of killing, in the sense that he did not actually see A put up the fire and have the gasoline thrown there, he did not see, so the evidence of Mr. K here nonetheless is a direct evidence, because it is considered as direct evidence, being an expert evidence under Section 61 sub D. But the relevancy will be under Section 7 to show cause. It can be, therefore, it has to be read together with Section 45. You must be an expert to be able to explain that. So that will be an example of evidence of cause of death. I'll give you another example. Remember the case that we have, that is the case of the death of Cradle Fund CEO. So you have CEO, Cradle Fund. So basically the CEO, you have Nazrin here, right? Remember Nazrin, so the facts and issue here is whether the wife and the 2 children caused the death of Nazrin, right? So this will be the facts and issues. So what you got to do is actually to prove the actus reus and mens rea of the crime, all right? That they killed Nazrin. Now the evidence that is relevant under Section 7 here, the first one will be when the wife here called 999 saying that there were fire, there were explosion in the house and there were fire. So basically the first person who was at the scene of the crime, you have the fireman. So katakanlah you have Mr. T, that is the bomber. So he will be the first one who was at the scene of the crime. So after he sought the fire out, he basically went into the room and he basically saw the body of Nazrin lying on the bed. Yeah, he saw the body of Nazrin lying on the bed, and basically he was dibaring, and at the headboard of the bed, he saw some kind of explosion. Yeah, of evidence of explosion or fire. Yeah, fire could have been broke from there. So that is the observation made by Mr. T. So when Mr. T went into the room and he observed that will be evidence of state of things. Immediately he says that by virtue of my observation, I believe that he could have been died because of explosion caused by the handphone. So that is the observation he made, right? And then, no, you have to understand, the first impression of evidence of Mr. T here is going to be very important, because he will be giving evidence of his first impression. So now, the kind of evidence that Mr. T testify here will be evidence of state of thing under Section 7, because this will be his observation when he look at it. Now, does Nazrin die because of explosion? Remember the first HKL expert, basically, I don't know how he conduct the post-mortem. He said that this person died because of explosion, because of fire and therefore by explosion. But eventually, if you recall this case, the family, the brother of the accused, of the victim here, were not happy with that conclusion. So basically, that's why you have Nazrin's body was taken up again, and the second post-mortem was conducted. And in the second post-mortem, they suddenly found that at the neck, behind, at the head of Nazrin, they basically saw puncture wound. Puncture wound, right? Maknanya, they have been punctured, maknanya to reflect that he could have not died because of fire. He has been murdered, right? So, okay, you have here, katakanlah the expert here, you have Dr. K. Dr. K examined the body of Nazrin one more time, and he discovered that there were punctured wound at the very back of the neck of Nazrin. Two puncture wound. Yeah. And upon further post-mortem, he found that there were no signs of other smoke. Yeah, basically maybe the condition of the lung does not reflect that this person died because of suffocation of smoke. So there were no fire. Yeah, the condition that was found by Dr. K could be that because of the puncture wound at the neck, he died immediately. So that will be evidence as to the cause of death. right? Right. So here, Dr. K here is going to testify under Section 7. He has to be an expert to do that, Section 45, and the evidence given by Mr. K will be related to the cause of death. So you see how Section 7 on the state of things and cause of death is used, yeah? Evidence to show cause and evidence to show state of things is used under Section 7. Now, eventually you find that, again, the bomber here, right? First, the observation at the crime scene, he saw that, okay, the body, and he assumed there were explosion. But eventually, what happened here is that he is giving opinion later during examination in chief cross and re-examination. Mr. T testified of the fact that it's very seldom to see a person in fire cases dia duduk dekat dalam keadaan mati dalam keadaan terlentang macam gitu. Because if a person was in fire situation, normally they will not going to be positioned lying on the bed like that. They will be looking for places to hide, and normally it's going to be like belakang pintu ke, and they will be in the position where the body normally curled, yeah, instead of kat sini lying on the bed macam tidur, yeah. So that is the observation made by the bomber. If he give evidence of that kind, that will be evidence of state of things under Section 7 as well. And this evidence of state of things is actually accompanied by the opinion of the bomber here. So whether the opinion is opinion of a lay person or opinion of the expert, it basically depends. Does the bomber here gain that experience through expertise ataupun mere observation? Alright? So what I'm going to say here, this is a situation by looking at the Cradle Fund's case, you can find how the working of Section 7 relating to the cause of death and state of thing is being applied. I hope you get that. Yeah, this will be an example of Section 7 state of things and cause of death. Now, another part of Section 7, yeah, is to show evidence of opportunity. You're talking about evidence of opportunity that is chances for the crime to be committed. You're talking about peluang here. I give you an example is in the case of Anwar Ibrahim, sodomy 2. Now what happened here, if you recall the case of Anwar Ibrahim, you have the sodomy is said to have occurred in condominium A. Katakanlah condominium number 1, 2, 3. You have the evidence of CCTV here. So the evidence of CCTV here captured the image of Anwar Ibrahim went into the lift, right? And then captured the image of, remember Saiful went into it, and then later Saiful left and Anwar Ibrahim left. And the allegation of sodomy happened within that time. They were at the condominium. Now in this context, you are talking about evidence of opportunity for a crime to be committed. Right? So if you have here, you are saying that there is an opportunity for sodomy to happen at that time because evidence that Anwar Ibrahim and Saiful were at the alleged scene of crime at that time. So you have to tender the CCTV here. Of course, bear in mind, you have to prove that CCTV can be tendered or not. Okay, CCTV is a documentary evidence, Section 3. It is a computer evidence, Section 3. So when you talk about computer evidence, it's going to be a primary evidence, Section 62. And because it is a computer evidence, you have to comply with Section 90A. And the case is Ahmad Najib Aris. That is, you require to tender certificate to show that the CCTV was in good working order. And also, or the person who are manning the CCTV will testify in the court to say that the CCTV is in good working order. This part just only to reflect that you can tender the CCTV. There will be second part that you have to prove is what will be the relevancy of the CCTV if you are to tender it in court. So the relevancy of the CCTV will be to show that there could be the existence of opportunity for Anwar Ibrahim to sodomize Saiful. Right? So you tender the CCTV relevancy to show opportunity under Section 7. You got the picture? So it means that if you refer to this kind of situation, right, if you have documentary evidence, the first part of your answer must reflect you able to tender documentary evidence in court? Right? So if the person able to tender evidence, this one maknanya reflect that you can, you can tender that evidence in court. Number 2, the second part in your answer must reflect relevancy. Why are you tendering this particular evidence in the court? What does it shows relating to the facts and issue? This is where you have to fit between section 6 to 55. Right? So when you talk about the CCTV, the relevancy will be to show an opportunity for sodomy to happen because both of them were there at the scene of the crime. Yeah? That is evidence of opportunity. Another example to show opportunity is actually found in the case of Aziz bin Muhammad Din. Right? In the case of Aziz bin Muhammad Din, so what happened in this case is that, is that you have Aziz, the accused person who is 21 years old, and he has a girlfriend, right? She is actually 15 years old, right? She's 15 years old. They went around and around in KL, pergi shopping, lepak-lepak, and basically what happened here is that night G did not go home. G tak balik rumah. So they decided to go to A's house, katakanlah nama dia H. So H here live in a flat. H here live with the wife. So the wife of H, who is actually at that time very, very pregnant. She was pregnant of their first child. So A and G went to H house, thought of spending the night there, and H has a wife who is pregnant. Katakanlah about 12 a.m. in the morning, the wife told the husband H, let's go to the hospital, I feel like I'm going to deliver the baby. So what happened here is that the husband and the wife here left the house, leaving the accused person, Aziz, and the girlfriend alone in the house. Basically what happened here is that they have sexual intercourse together, and the next day G went home. Katakanlah pukul 10 pagi, she went home, and her father was already waiting for her at home. The father was very curious, asked her where she went, and basically she told the father that she has spent the night with A, and basically admitted to having sexual intercourse with the accused person. The father was not very happy. The father forced her to make a police report. She refused, but A ni dia punya boyfriend. However, after being forced and scolded by the father, G made a police report. So, G made a police report. And now, what happened here, A is being interrogated, and A is charged for statutory rape. Right? I hope you understand of the fact that statutory rape is an offence of rape. You all mesti belajar dulu masa you belajar your penal code, whereby the elements that you got to prove basically penetration. Right? Penetration of the organ. There is no need for you to prove that the girl consented or non-consent of the girl to the sexual intercourse. When you have statutory rape, what you got to prove is that the girl must be below the age of 16 years old. Automatically, if she is below 16 years old, and the accused person here, the man here, penetrated her, and it is already rape under the provisions of the penal code on statutory rape. So what happened here is that she made a police report, and eventually the man here, Aziz, being charged for statutory rape, because the girl is actually 15 years old. Now, in the context of section 7, we are discussing here evidence of opportunity. What happened here is that the prosecutor is calling H. The prosecutor here is calling H to give evidence in the court. So your prosecution witness is H. What H will testify is the fact that, yes, G and A were in my house and they were alone in my house. That is what the evidence of H here is all about. Remember, H, who is the prosecution witness here, did not see the actor's rears. Yeah? He only giving evidence of opportunity. That's why evidence of opportunity here is circumstantial in nature. So that when H tells the court the fact that, yes, by 12 o'clock we left the house because my wife is actually going to deliver a baby, so I left the two of them at home, so that exists the existence of opportunity to commit the crime of statutory rape. So, bila you panggil H, bukan untuk show facts and issue, just to show facts surrounding the facts and issue, that is evidence of opportunity under section 7. Alright? So, by looking at all this example, you will find that section 7 here is very simple, very straightforward. You may have cases to support it, but of course, if you want to put on cases, make sure that you explain the law first.